Hey,
What's
there's Will Mass.
happening? Hey, buddy.
There's Will Mass. What's happening? I'm gonna make sure of everything here.
Are you making sure of everything?
Making sure. I think I got. Hey, this is the first one, so we're
That's
trying to
right.
make sure of everything. And
Bringing it back, baby. Bringing it back.
right. So okay, we're there. Here. Turning volume down on everything, all the little gadgets that are here. I see we're
Right
live
on.
on all the pages.
Nice. That's good. That's good.
Right, Rock Metal Radio page, YouTube, the Rock Altar Facebook page, and the website right there, the Rock Altar website, www.therockaltar.com. But if you're watching this, you don't need to because you're already watching on something.
But you can watch it later too, right?
Right, you can watch it later. We have comments. Brad Huber, yes, we are back. Say hi to Brad. Be nice.
Nice, Brad and
Be
Mr.
nice.
Hoover.
Be nice.
I'm
Okay, you
always
gonna be
nice.
nice today, or are you gonna just?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to Brad?
I'm talking to you.
We're just getting started here. There's no reason for me not to be nice yet. Come on, man.
All right, yet. As long as
Well,
we got something to look forward to here.
this is me we're talking about, and there will
Mm-hmm.
always be moments in hey,
There's good.
when you put me on a live broadcast of some sorts, there could be potential consequences. That's all I'll
There,
say.
there could be.
There
Hey,
could be.
Rat Rod, hello. That's Mark. Bella, hello. So all that we went last time we were doing this, we were doing it through StreamYard. And if
Right.
you guys remember, we had a problem with knowing who was saying what because StreamYard wanted you to do jump through hoops so that I could see your name. So I had to do this, and we just knew it was Facebook user. We didn't know who the hell was talking half the time.
Right.
But now you don't have to jump through hoops. It's easier for you, the viewers, not so much for us anymore, but it's easier for everybody and us to see your name and who's commenting and this and that and the other thing. So we're back. We're better. Maybe we're. I don't know. Maybe better was a bad word.
We're
Me and
improved.
you ain't better.
We're improved.
We're improved.
We're improved. We're improved. We're improved human beings.
Right. We got a lot more going on than we did before. Oh wait, I got my
Yeah,
stupid
we
glasses
do.
on. Hold on. God
I
damn
got
it.
mine on, but I'm leaving them on. Otherwise, I
I
can't
might
see
have
what's
to
going
leave
on up
them
there or
on.
down here.
We are cool with the old man glasses, right?
I think so, and the silver that's now the silver in the face.
Right. You
Actually,
know,
it's white.
getting there, it's like
Yeah.
you get glare off the hair now. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on? I can see one guy that's sitting in here, maybe both. I don't know. They're little older gentlemen and shit. And it's like, but they still got like jet black hair. You got to be kidding me. There's got to be something going on there. They're,
Well,
they're superhumans.
I feel fortunate because all my gray and white is here. Like my hair is still dark. Well, you can't see it, but
Right.
and it's cold in here, so I'm not taking this hat off.
Yeah. You don't got heat in there?
No, no, no,
No. No.
no,
Oh,
no.
Chris Henrico, Babylon is back. Hey, how you doing, Margie? Hello, Margie.
Oh, Minxie, love you some Minxie.
Hell yeah! You knew you were gonna get Margie in here. She really
Well,
likes this band that we're about to have on. I think she really likes it.
I think she was their first groupie.
Really, I
Might have
think
been.
you're right.
Might have been.
I think you're right.
We'll
And
have
she
to get
just
to that. We'll have to
well,
get to that.
maybe
Hey,
send her an invite and get the backstory on this
so
band.
first off, I want to tell everybody something here. Look, what everything that's going on now with everything you're seeing on here and all the different places you're seeing it, Mike took this on. This is none of my doing. Again, I'm the mouth that just sits in the chair and runs his face.
Mouth.
Um, but Mike is, he's put all this together, man, and he's done a really kick-ass job, and I really appreciate you, brother.
Hey man, I like doing it. You know me. I like, okay, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? It took a while to figure out how to bounce. I want to be able to go live on the radio. And
Right.
eventually we're going to do that. But there will be a certain time on the radio, on the Rock Altar radio itself, that we will I'm recording these, and I will put it on. It won't be video, but it will be uh, sometime like Tuesday at 4 or something like that, that it'll run so that, there's an interview possible, there's an interview show on there. Plus, once we get rolling and this and that, we are going to have music on here, like new artists, like we did
Yep.
before. Days coming back, we don't have a lot. We got Babylon on, and we're going to do it that way. But eventually, it'll probably be this week. We'll figure out a time, and what I got recorded here, I'll download it, do whatever I have to do, and hopefully on the
You're coming through super muddy on the mic right now, Mike. I don't know what's going on. It's like your tone's dropped way down.
really.
There you go. Now you're
Oh,
back.
okay, I'm back.
There you go. Better.
Maybe I kept banging it with my hands because I like to talk about. I don't know.
It happens. I get it. I totally get it.
But we're going to be everywhere, so it's just finding avenues. And
And
I have a TikTok account, so we'll be doing TikToks too.
you can handle the TikTok side of things. I
Come
ain't
on,
quite
man.
there yet,
You
man.
got to
I'm
be a
on there. I mean, I
TikTok.
got an account, but I don't think I've ever posted anything on there at all, man.
It is, it's a way to reach a younger generation, and you wouldn't believe it. But and a lot has changed since we've been on before. So it's like now TikTok is like you go on there and you can reach more people, and people do message you, and they're like, "Wow, I never heard of these guys." And even older generation like us, they don't. There's certain bands that they haven't heard of, and then
Right.
you hit them with a new band, and they're like, "Okay, I dig that," and they
Right.
they kind of get to know you, just like Facebook. They get to know you and align their uh, tastes and likes to yours.
Right.
So, and then you say, "Hey, got to go check out this band, Babylon Shakes." They know that you have never steered them wrong before, so now they
Right.
go and check them out, and they love them.
Well, you develop a reputation for being somebody that either has his finger kind of on the pulse of things locally or not. And when you've built that reputation, as a lot of us that have been doing this a couple years now have, it's kind of essential. It's like, okay, you have to plan things so that you don't disappoint. And
Right.
once you kind of get in a rhythm of that, then people know. It's like you can just put something out there. Like I said, it's like, okay, we're gonna have, next time we do a show, we could be doing it with a band that nobody's ever heard of. You know what I mean? We're gonna throw that name out there. But because people genuinely listen to us when we talk about bands, they're gonna go, you know what, I'm gonna tune in, check out this band. Or maybe I won't even tune in, but I'll go check out the band later. You know what I mean? I'll look them up just
Right.
because one of us said something about a band. You know what I mean?
Right.
Following is everything with from all aspects, from what bands do with their music to what we do with radio programming or podcasts. It's all based on developing followings. And
Exactly.
I think when you and I were talking before, it's like when we did this radio show before and we did it through Toxic, we got a nice following of people from all over the place, really watching. So we knew early on that we were tapped into something, at least with the family base that we already had. So bringing this back now, for those that were here before, what the show is. It's going to be the same kind of thing, and there's not going to be too much difference in how we did things. Our cadence and all that will be pretty much the same. Mike will try to keep me level headed, and I'll try to keep from going through the roof.
Right.
Going through the roof, you know what I mean, with some crazy opinion of myself that I might have. But for those that have never watched our show before and you're new to it now, buckle up. We're a little bit different, man. We're going to give you, interviews, and we're going to talk, and it's going to be all based on music. We're not going in political directions. We're not going in religious directions. We're not going in any other direction other than music. This is what
Music.
we're here for. And is, to be specific, music that is regional and local to where we are, as well as doing some of the national stuff. We're not going to look at a band that's a national touring act and say no, we don't want to have them on our show. That's just dumb. But we do showcase the local and the original, mind you, the local original bands and regional. And it's funny because we've had this conversation before, Mike. When somebody hears me say local, well, wherever I am in the moment, that's local to me. Like, I live here in Maryland, but if I'm down there visiting you in South Carolina and you take me out to see a band, well, that's now local to me because that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? I always want to encourage that with people. You know, local isn't just your hometown. Local is wherever you're seeing a band at that particular time. You know what I mean? Those are the kind of things that we want to be. We're not pigeonholing our bands to one area. We want bands that have never been heard or don't get a chance to get heard that much. We want to give them a platform. That's what we originally did it for last time.
Right. Exactly. You know,
So for the newbies, buckle up, Buttercup.
buckle up, Buttercup. The other thing we wanted to talk about, well, hit on is just our hearts go out to everybody, all of our friends, and even if we don't know you, anybody in the LA area. I mean, that is absolute. I can't fathom it. I know you have friends there. I have friends there,
Yep.
and to watch their Facebook posts and watch what they're going through, and a new fire starting, and then this one and that one. It's just I can't imagine it. Fire scares me. I don't like that. I'll sit there and ride out a hurricane. I'll go right
You
up to a
have.
tornado and talk to it. But you set a fire, I'm going the other way.
Yeah.
No, I just can't. Retune Jewelry, who's one of my sponsors or partners on the Rock Altar, they have a thing going on. I was going to read it, but they started out of a necessity to help, and that's what they do. They give back, and most of their jewelry that is sold is, well, all of it is. They call it retuned. It's used guitar strings that are sent to them by artists. So they create the jewelry by used guitar strings, and
Show them. You're
but
wearing them.
yeah. Oh, I've got them. But yeah, I love them, and they're well made, and durable, and I love them. And so now they started because of, I can't remember what it was, but it was back in the pandemic time, and so they started their company due to a need to give back. So they're like, if we can make these and sell them, we can give money to help out. Well, now the LA fires have happened, and they said, they're like, we can help out again. So we're going to get you more used guitar strings. We're going to start making jewelry, and our we're going to give back. We're going to give money to um, the LA fires. They're going to pick something and give to that. So I'll post that information's on the Rock Altar website. I do believe it might have been on the Rock Metal Radio page too, but I'll reshare it again.
I think
But
it was.
just help out any way you can. Everybody's always looking for a way to help out, and if you can get some cool jewelry and still and help a good cause, that's the way to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, my
But
heart goes out to, like you said, we have a lot of family friends out there in that area, and they're all dealing with it. And I can't imagine, like you, it's like fire is one of those things that really does freak me out a bit. But yeah, our love and heart goes out to everybody we know out there, and people, like you said, people we don't know. I mean, anybody that's affected by it. It's a pretty big thing, man. So everybody stay safe out there, man.
absolutely, gotta stay safe out there. So
Absolutely.
we got our first show back. It's like we got one of our favorite bands. They're
It's a fan
buddies of
band.
ours. It's the Fam Band.
It's a fan
Well,
band.
it's kind of like like the Grateful Dead was a jam band. These
There
guys
you
are a
go.
fan band.
There you go.
I like it. I like it. A fan band.
Yeah, it's a
You know.
fan band, man.
And, one of the guys in this band, man, he keeps showing up. I was on the Monsters Rock cruise, and he was there. I go to other shows, and he was there. It's like I don't know. He just follows. Either he's at just the best places, or he stalks.
I
I
think he's a
haven't figured
creeper.
out what creeper.
I
Okay,
think he's a creeper.
I like creeper better.
I
I
think
like
he's a
creeper better.
creeper.
He's a creeper. Yeah. I guess I didn't mute him. Oh, well, then we might as well bring these two
Oh
cats
man,
on. I
we
mean,
give our
Jesus.
guests way too much
I mean,
control
come
on this show.
on, get on here, then. I mean, he unmuted him.
That's
Jesus.
great, Morty. That's great.
Wow. Okay. Now
Oh
we got
man.
we got uh well, let's see. What does this say? Turn Ferguson. What's this
Turn
gonna come?
Ferguson. There it is.
And then we have Chris Clark. What's happening?
What's up, guys?
So how you
What's
guys doing?
happening, man?
What's up?
Good to see everybody.
Good to
I
be
think
seen.
Gary is trying to join. I don't know if
Is
he's
he?
made it in yet. Yeah.
Mike will know. Mike will be
It'll
the heads
it'll
up.
show. It'll show down here. I don't
That's
see
funny
him yet.
because Gary is he's the Michael of our outfit.
Nice.
Like you, Will. I'm just the mouthpiece. I'm just lucky to be here. Those guys do all
Yep.
the work. They do everything. I just talk too much.
Yep.
And
Yep.
occasionally play drums.
That's what you're here on this planet to do, my friend.
It's what you're supposed to do. I mean, you're doing your job.
That's right.
I play not as well as you, of course, but it's I sit back there, just do my thing, and everybody else says out in front. Okay, cool. I just sit back there.
Yeah.
That's our job.
Yeah.
It's funny how many times everybody comes up to me and says, "Oh, I got a good picture of so and so," or "I got a good picture," and it's always a drummer, and it's never the best picture. But because y'all move around back there the way you guys do, it's one, you're in the back, and two, you've got an array of cymbals and toms and all these things in front of you. And for somebody that's got to photograph you guys, I don't know how they do it, man. They got to get in there and get like right up in there and underneath things to kind of get the right angle on you guys. It's tough.
Yeah, my hat's off to those guys that do it. And they can put up with our music and take a picture of us. Hey, man, that's awesome.
Okay. I finally figured out how to show the comments.
There they are.
I've been over here trying to figure this out. It was right there staring at me.
And the first one you put up is my wife. Great.
I had
There you
to.
go.
I'd have gotten a lot of trouble, dude. I mean,
It's good to be back. It's good to be back. But the truth of the matter is, we never separated. We
No.
all just had projects and things we all wanted to do. And remember, we never finished that conversation. I think last Bendy Q,
Yep.
I was like, he's like, I ain't done.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Up today in the conversation.
Yeah.
That was one of those things that stood out for me. And let's not even go to that one right now. We'll elaborate on that conversation later because again, I had a plan on bringing that into this fold. But let's start off with first of all, Babylon Shakes. Let's go back in the history of it a little bit for those that may not know. Although I don't know that too many people are tuning in that don't know who you guys are. So we're going to go back to 2016, I believe, is when you guys kind of originally got together. And then 2017 would have been the first show, the Holiday Six Pack with Tora Tora. I forget who else was on that bill.
Chatterbox and Ryder.
Yep, Chatterbox and Ryder. Yeah, that's right. From the first moment that you guys did that first show together, I think that was an impact moment on everybody that was in that room because it's resonated to now where those same fans, they're still here. And every time you guys would tease about something or every time, anything would come up, the music family just starts buzzing. So, it's been a really cool ride from the inception to where we are now. There's been a lot of different changes within the band as far as musically and what you guys were doing. I personally have loved all the different phases. But now let's get back to the deal at hand here. We are back to the vintage sleaze, and it is right where you guys, in my opinion, and a lot of other people that I talked to, this is the wheelhouse that you guys came out in. It's one that I think we're all really glad to see you get back into because it fits who you guys are as a band and as a personality of the content of the band. You know what I mean? It just you all are very much. We all grew up in that era. We lived in that same time frame, and you guys write and perform in that same bloodline, man. And I'm just personally really happy to see that you're coming back to that sleaze because I think that's really where you guys are.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we think so too. It's we talk about it all the time when we get together. It's we kind of spread out a little bit and tried to kind of bring in some other influences into what we were doing. But when we got back together back in, gosh, I guess it was like August, late July or August last year. Um, Immediately we just, when the three of us get into a room and just start playing, it's hard and heavy, like we never walked away from it. And that's where the magic and the power is. So we just started, banging off songs left and right and went right into recording mode. Geez, what, Jeff, like November we started recording again?
No, actually, we hit the ground running mid-September. We broke ground on this new record.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's Gary.
Yeah, we started pre-production and we got together early August, and that was it. We just did some pre-production and off to the races. We just started doing. I was going in once a month pretty much since August, just doing 2 tracks at a time. I come in and do the drums first, and we just built from there. But I've still got 3 more tracks to do. We have 9 in the can, and we want to do a couple more and then pick the best 10. So
Nice.
Mike, you hear that? They got 9 in the can.
9 in the can.
You hear that? 9. There's 9 of them there, Mike.
9.
yeah, well, I mean, we Chris had written enough material. Like we have enough for 2 albums,
Mhm.
and we were
Nice.
kind of. I kind of suggested, hey, let's do a double album. Let's do something we've never done before. Let's really go out there. But
Right.
they, of course, conventional,
Yeah.
wisdom,
Conventional wisdom says
yeah,
release these, create the buzz, release singles, keep the momentum going, release
Yeah.
another one. You release that double album, and usually it's a little more expensive, and then
Oh, yeah.
people are like, should I spend $20 instead of 12? It, I'm not that way. I blow money on everything, but it's just
Mhm.
some people are like, well, I like every song. It doesn't matter. Just buy it and support the band. I just buy. I just got
Right.
it.
What do we got? Jason Momoa down there trying to figure out a camera angle? What's going on down there?
Well, it looked like Jason Momoa.
that is a great view of
geez,
his ceiling. Really did a good
There.
job.
There he is.
he's
Look at
having
him.
fun down there.
Stop
just-
turning your phone.
He's having a blast. I mean, I said this was going to be a circus, and he brought the circus. There
It's
it
a
is.
circus.
The circus has
Yeah.
arrived. Hi, Gary.
Okay, wait. We got to unmute him. Okay, there.
Are you there?
Are you there? Can we hear you?
Gary.
He's still
Okay.
muted. Yeah.
I think
No, he's unmuted.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's volume. Oh, there.
something on his end.
He's playing with it. No, he's
Just sit there and look pretty, big guy. You'll be all right.
he'll be all right. It's something on his end because he's unmuted.
Yeah,
There we go. Okay. That's the universal language.
Got that
I
loud
guess.
and clear, man. Loud and clear.
So,
So, sure.
during the times when the band was changing their sound, you're going through different phases. Were you guys just exploring new or trying to find? You have so much inside of you that which do we want to go?
I don't really see it that way. We get that a lot. There seems to be a misconception with that. There's with this band with a lot of things. First off, really from the beginning, we're as you are, very much alike in respect of we love music.
Right.
We love so much music. Rock and roll to us is not just the Sunset Strip sound. There's so much. There's a new wave of British heavy metal. There's English rock. There's punk rock. There's
A lot of
we love it all. And when we get together and we make music, we listen to a lot of different music, and it's always. Sometimes I'll play my mix of songs, and Chris is like, oh, I didn't know you were into that band, and oh yeah, and then and then he'll start saying, and like it's like a discovery really at the very beginning when we started Babylon, and it's just stuff. It's kind of like bucket list stuff that we always wanted to do. We really like so much genre of music, and maybe we took it a little too far, but I saw it as we really wanted to kind of be two bands in one.
Right.
A
Mhm.
lot of stuff off the second record is to me is more like what we would have done as the Blouse Brothers as a side project. It was more acoustic and it was more, direct blues influences. But of course, it sounds like, the Black Crowes, the Stones, Zeppelin, stuff like that. So it was just a wrinkle that we really just needed to do, and that's where we felt at the time to just
Right.
do that. We didn't have a record label to tell us, "Oh, you need to do it like the first album." We wanted this is just where we were and
Right.
how we felt, and that's how we do music. That's how we record music. We're just we're art. That's what artists do. They go with what they're inspired to write and influenced by. So
Right.
I liked that. I mean, I liked, obviously, like I said, leading into this, I loved the sleaze. Don't get me wrong. That second album was very, where makes you feel different sets of emotions. Both of those first two albums made me feel two different set of emotions. You know what I mean? And that's how they were meant to be because they were two different concepts of the same thing. And I got it. I totally got it. You know what I mean? When you guys came here and did the COVID show, and it was just like that whole show was amazing for a lot of reasons, but the music was perfect for that time frame and what was happening right then and there. You know what I mean? And it was I love every incarnation of this band. But the sleaze, I'm just like again, the hard rock, just the and like you said, you guys listen to a lot, and as much as people will say that's the LA sound, that sound is a culmination of the Stones and all the things that you listen to. You know what I mean? Just like it was for them back there in the day when it was coming up. So I hear all those influences. You know what I mean? Everything that you guys listening to, and it helps that I know you guys all pretty well, so we know what you listen to.
yeah,
But this band, again, so Bendy Q 2 years ago, Morty's playing in another band, and we were hanging out, talking and bullshitting. And first thing he starts right out of the gate, he goes, "This is great, man." He said, "But he's like, Babylon's my band." He's like, that's the one it's never gonna go away. It's gonna be with me forever. I'm gonna be playing music with those guys forever. It's the band that feels right. And we never did finish that conversation, Morty. You're right, but it was that statement was very, very it resonated big time with me. It was just like, okay, all right. So it's like I didn't give up hope at that point of there being more Babylon Shakes because that statement was just like, oh, solved. I'm just gonna wait, and when
Right.
it happens, it happens.
And we all knew it was going to happen. Come on. I mean, like Gary said,
it
it never went away.
yeah, it never went away. It's
Right.
just kind of how it went. Chris really wanted to do,
I
his.
can't hear Jeff. He's just like, I don't know.
You need to, so you need to
It's a
talk much
blessing, I
louder.
guess.
He's
I'm tired of
he's
listening to Jeff all
unmuted.
the time, Just
No,
keep
like
the
I
mute
said,
button on.
Chris is influenced by so much music. There's again, it's also that European stuff, Lords of the New Church, and like the early Cult, and
Mm,
Yeah.
Sisters of Mercy,
Wow.
and that we love that stuff too. And that's like a dark goth underground thing, and
right.
that's just where his heart was, and that's what he wanted to do. We kind
Right.
of were going to do it with him, but it just didn't work out that way. And I think that's just where it went. And in the meantime, I guys and Racer Rat are really cool. Jeff and Skins and Matt, they're
Mm,
super cool guys, and I love those guys. They're my brothers, and I was very grateful to be playing with them. And it was just something I could do in the meantime because I knew we were going to regroup and do another album, and I just wanted to stay sharp and keep my
right.
chops up. I'm not a young man anymore, and I like to keep my hands and stay in shape, playing shape. And Chris was doing his thing, and Gary does all of our engineering and our producing, and he did. done a wonderful job, and he had studio projects that he was doing with other artists. So we all we knew it was gonna happen. And also, just one last thing is we did not like get together and say, oh, we need to go back and do stuff like the first album. It wasn't like that at all. It was
It
Chris
just
had
flowed.
he had a body of work of music
Hmm.
that he just wrote, and he said, hey guys, check this out. Do you want to do it? Do you want to do this again? And we were like, oh hell yeah, man. It just felt right. It's kind of like, but it wasn't. It wasn't like the songs weren't written. They weren't forced. It wasn't like, oh, we've got to
Right.
write in this vein. We
Right.
just went dug from the well like we always do, like Hanoi Rocks and Faster Pussycat and
Right.
L.A. Guns and Early Crew. I mean, that's what this record is really going to sound like.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's, when you force something, it doesn't really ever turn out good. And you can always tell when bands don't force it. Like Love Lies Bleeding, the first single, you can tell it's not forced. It's not like, okay, they want us to do this, so we gotta go, we have to do this. It was just something that flows through you, and you're like, okay, let's do this, and it sounds good. And
Mhm.
if you're not forced, people align with it, but you can always tell, we're all fans, even though you guys are in a band and you're musicians, you're fans of music too, and you can tell when a band forces something. And I've never ever anytime Babylon Shakes has released something, it never sounds like it's forced or we have to do this. And no, it just sounds great. It sounds like who you are. There's different versions. Motley Crue did different versions. Shout Out the Devil is nowhere near Theater of Pain. Theater of
No.
Pain was a different avenue for him. And then Girls, Girls, Girls. And if you look at bands, there are different aspects of bands, and they don't always sound like the other one.
Good bands.
Right?
Good
Good bands.
bands.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Metallica released Saint Anger. That was something that they wanted to do. Did it resonate? With some people it did, with some people it didn't. But every band has their, different progressions and different sounds that they do. And it's just the way it is. But, and people always sit there and go, what are they doing? What are they doing? But they listen to it and they go, oh, okay, this is cool.
Mhm.
This is great. You
Mhm.
know. So at Babylon
I got a,
Shakes is nothing different.
I got a quick question, and I'm just assuming here. So we're back to a three-piece. So Gary, you're back to playing bass.
I don't know yet.
Great.
I really don't know what my role is here yet.
I tend to play a little bit of everything except for drums and percussion because that belongs to somebody else in the group, Turd Jefferson,
Turd,
Turd
Turd
Ferguson.
Jefferson.
Bird Ferguson.
or Jefferson. I guess it's a good thing I can't hear him. I don't know. It's like it's pretty cool. Can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me?
See, I still can't hear him. I don't know what the heck's wrong with my phone, but
Mm.
anyway, uh,
So you're not going to
yeah.
answer the question.
So like on the album, it's like the album we're doing now. It's like we're still doing it like a four-piece kind of. Actually, Chris has got some bass tracks on there I've left because I was like, I don't know if I can do any better. Um, and then Chris is doing a rhythm track. I'm doing a rhythm track on guitar. So um, we kind of like share the roadway as
Mhm.
far as you know filling the music out, adding little pieces. Um, it's fun.
Mhm.
So
Exactly. It has to be fun.
what I'm getting into though is from a live perspective, how's that going to go? Are you guys bringing somebody in to play bass and you're going to continue to play guitar as of the last version, or is this going back to a full three-piece live where it's just the three of you guys?
Why don't you
Well,
just wait and find out? I guess.
yeah,
That's some horse shit.
I
it's
mean, I
kind
don't
of
know, man. I mean, the
yeah.
answer is, I mean, right now we're a three-piece, and
Mhm.
Go.
I think we could kill it as a three-piece, and
Hell
you know,
yeah.
You always did. Always.
Oh
um,
yeah.
so I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, if we bring in a guest player, we bring in a guest player. You know what I mean? It's just how much fun we're gonna have with it. You know what I mean? Let's
Mhm.
Right.
face it, we're not rock stars. We're just guys that love music.
We're
So,
kind of rock stars.
And I was going to say they
well,
are kind of rock
A little
stars.
bit. A little bit.
well, you may be a rock star, but. Uh, Yeah.
Will's the
So I
rock
mean,
star around here.
No.
I just like having fun with it. What happens is what happens.
Exactly.
All
I
right.
mean,
Yeah.
All right.
we're putting some stuff out, and if you see us as a 3-piece, sweet. You see us as a 4-piece, you get lucky. You know,
I get a break if you do.
but
Yeah.
it's actually been a fun process so far, except for, I'm working while Jeff and Chris are just laying around the house doing nothing.
Wow.
So
Wow.
just kidding, guys.
Wow.
Anyway,
Shots fired. I like it. Here we
it's like
go.
That's
it's like
funny.
the gunshot on the beginning of Love Lies,
Uh,
but
Oh,
no,
good segue.
it's
yeah,
it's
that
been
is a pretty good segue.
Yeah.
yeah.
Look at that, Janet Miller. You're rock stars to me.
Yeah.
Bunch of hearts. See, see,
Oh,
see,
see, I'm not even looking at that.
Oh, there's
see.
there's Chris Carroll's in chiming in. What will the outfits look like?
Oh, there
Hey,
you go.
there we go.
Oh,
That's a good question. That
It
is a
really
good
good
is
question.
question.
because a lot of
We're all
bands.
gonna look like Elvis.
This is the black era. This is like black leather and
Yeah.
It's gonna be
polka
it's
dot.
gonna be a
Oh.
little
There
bit
we
different.
go.
Except
Yeah.
we're not gonna be wearing white. We're gonna be wearing black.
I like it. I'm
I like
totally
that.
partial. I'm very partial to black.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, it's a death kind of record.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, it's heavy and dark. That's for sure.
It's definitely a little bit heavier than the first record,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe we'll play a little bit of it.
Nice.
That's another.
We do have. We do have. We could go right now and.
There he
for
goes.
people- What?
Nothing. I'm having a moment to myself. Don't worry.
There you go. We go right now. We'll do. For those of you who haven't heard the new single, which is "Love Lies Bleeding," we can go do that one right now if y'all want.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go.
I
Let's
would.
Sure.
check out the new video. Was released probably when was it released? Like 2 weeks ago.
November 29th.
November 29th. Wow, everything's
Black
getting away from
Friday.
me. That's like 3 weeks ago.
Black
like a month
Friday.
Black Friday. Yeah, I like it. All right, let's find this, and there we go. Yeah,
That's badass.
it's badass. And you wouldn't be able to tell it's a three piece if you didn't know it was a three piece.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people say that, especially and with the first album, it
Right.
was like, that's not a three-piece band, and yeah,
It's full. You're not like it's not missing anything. Like Triumph. Triumph is a three
yeah.
piece, and they were just great. I mean, they sound like a five piece, but you just can't unless you know. You don't know. You
Hmm.
can't hear it in the music. There's nothing missing. For a first single off the album, perfect.
It's
Of
a
course, I
nice
haven't.
3.5 minute, just tight meat and potatoes rock song.
Right.
It's Gary plays a lot of lead on this too. We kind of switched off in
Really.
some of the lead
Nice.
guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Gave you
funny because I've listened to it a couple times. I've listened to it in the truck. I listened to it, at the house or whatever. This is the first time I've had headphones on and actually listened to it.
mhm.
It's well, like I'm hearing all the little nuances that you're not picking up in the truck. From whether it's road, noise or whatever. That thing is badass, dude. I like that a lot, and it's driving. The whole thing from start to finish is just drive, drive, drive. Nobody's hitting the brakes. Nobody's doing shit, and that's awesome, dude. I love that. I love that.
I
But
have to
wait,
listen to a
there's
song
more.
the first time.
There's more. What do you mean? There's more.
You like that
It's right
song?
behind me.
The whole record's going to be like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't
Wait a
have
minute.
that.
These guys sent us one song, and they've got 9 in the can, Mike.
Right? No, they didn't send me that song. I stole that from YouTube.
Yeah.
Steal everything from YouTube. YouTube is not safe anymore. I just take it.
That's our producer, folks. Just keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
Just
Whenever
take
they
it.
come knocking on the door, there's the guy taking it right there.
Right. Well, when you want to show a video, it's hard to do it. You know, it's hard to do all this, and then YouTube just, of course, YouTube. If you're listening, which I'm live on YouTube right now, I don't do that. Yeah, I don't do that. Somebody
Little
said
late. Little late there, big guy.
don't matter. YouTube knows people steal from them all the time. But say, okay, you get YouTube, and say you steal a song from YouTube, okay, and then re-upload it to your channel. Guess what? You get flagged.
Because
But
you
this,
stole it.
but this user
There's
stole it from
copyright
the artist
issues.
too.
You know what you need to do, Mike?
It's just crazy.
You need
What I
Mike.
find
You need to sign up with ASCAP, and you need to sign up with BMI, and then you can play whatever you want because you're paying royalties in a sense.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
That's-
you do the record labels, and the record labels send you the song,
Exactly.
and you're allowed
When
to
you do that, you do that with
the
our
radio.
you do that with RFK all the time.
Yep. RFK, Frontiers, they'll send you music, and
Right.
I put the MP3 right on the radio station. Now,
Right.
all the radio station is licensed and comes through.
Right.
When you want to share something, a video on a podcast, that's hard to do.
Right.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's your department, man. I'm just here to talk.
I
But
borrow.
the funny thing about the business model of the music industry, because there isn't one, for us, for example, everything you're talking about is, yeah, they can take it from Spotify, they can take it from YouTube, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're putting this music out, and in the past, at least in the early days when Napster came on, I'm talking about the beginning of the end, so to speak,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Where artists were getting pissed because they're spending all this money in the studio. Some of them, in some bands, in some instances, depending on the size of the label, they ended up having to pay for a lot of the costs for production, for
Right.
mixing, not just the recording. That's expensive in itself.
Right.
They were getting mad. Well, now that you can't stop it, you have bands like us that are, guess what? The cost is a minimal. It's just our time and our blood, sweat, and tears, specifically Gary, of what he puts in. We,
Mhm.
we, we have our own studio. We
Right.
do our own mixing. We do our own producing. And Gary, this time, really stepped up.
Mhm.
Has done more of the mixing now. But what you just heard is us. I mean, it was written by us. It's
Right.
produced by us. It's mixed by us. Everything by us. Because because we're really not going to make a lot of money on one side of the fence, but on the other side of the fence, it's not costing us an arm and a leg, and it's not going to bankrupt us.
Right.
It's what we love doing.
Hmm.
You know,
And you have Spotify, which is a God, it's a necessary evil anymore. People
It's a,
want
it
to
is.
they want to
Yeah.
hear the song first, and you don't have MTV anymore. You don't have this or anything anymore, so you kind of rely on the enemy, which is Spotify. They're the enemy, really, because they don't pay anything.
Nobody pays
You
them.
rely on Spotify. You rely on YouTube to get it out there. Facebook, get it out there. Okay, here I'm giving it to you for free, basically.
Right.
But please buy the album. Please buy a T-shirt. Please buy a concert ticket to go to the show. That's where we're going to get paid somehow. So that's why we always stress, hey, you might get it out here, you might listen to Spotify, and okay, I heard it, I like it, now go buy it.
Well,
yeah. I mean, another reason why we wanted to do it too is because I'm one of those people. I'm an album guy. I'm not
Oh
a
yeah,
single. Singles are great, but the thing is, if you put out a great single, then people, what do people want? They want more. Okay, what else you got? More, more. Of course, I want to put out a record. I'm old school, man.
oh yeah,
I don't just enjoy one song of a band. I like to enjoy the whole record. It's like one giant song. I mean, it's
right. It's like a book. Most records are a they tell a story if you listen to it. Because that is a time in your life, in the
yeah,
band's life, where most of the songs kind of have a flow to them. There's different um, years of each album, and there's different phases of that band's life and what they're going through, what the world's doing, and they all tell a story. They're not always every one of them a concept album, but there is some sort of a concept to each album that's put out.
absolutely.
Hmm. That's funny you say that too, because this record has a lot of different stories that all kind of fit together.
Right?
It's like we've been saying, it's darker. It's more Hollywood Sunset Strip.
Mm.
A lot of ideas about like a femme fatale, like a failed actress. Like Love Lies Bleeding is kind of the first like part of a series of songs that introduces kind of this character, this idea of like a female serial killer. And as the album progresses, as with other songs, it kind of picks up a little bit in that story. It's not a true concept album, but there's so many similar themes with it, you know?
And that's how it goes. And if people don't buy the album or buy the CD, you're missing out on so much more that the band has to say, that the band has to offer. If you're just going, okay, boom, I'll do this. And there's nothing like having it. It's your own. Spotify can go away anytime soon. MTV went away. People said, no, that'll never go. That went away. Things will go away, and you'll be left with nothing. So if you have a collection, I have a collection. I always have it.
Hmm.
yeah.
You
That's a good
know,
point, Michael. And I think that's why vinyl is coming back. I mean, it
yes,
really has no monetary value. I mean, like my Kiss records to me are invaluable, but they're I still shop for them, and they're not really worth anything to the world, but they are to me, and that's
oh
that's the
yeah,
beauty, right? I
That's
mean,
all matters.
those albums that you bought, those classic albums, and what we're they're the soundtrack of your life. It's where
they
you
are
were, like you said, at that time. It's the embodiment of the whole experience, the whole record.
right. And you have it. Man, it's just
Yeah,
to sit in a chair. And I still do it. I'll sit in a chair. I'll put it on, and I'm reading the liner. I've read the liner notes 100 different times, but I still go back and read the liner. You always find something that you forgot about. Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's right. Or it
Hmm.
was recorded at this studio, or this, that, the other thing. It's just come on. You got to buy the music. I mean, Jesus.
Right.
yeah. MP3 can't do that.
No,
No.
and
No.
you do an MP3, even a CD sounds different than a record. And I love the record
One
just
hundred
because it
percent. Right.
sounds
Oh, yeah.
Vinyl.
full, it sounds
I love vinyl.
warm,
Yeah.
it
Crackle.
might be a little more
Um,
expensive, but
yeah.
it just sounds, CDs are brassy, but you can
They
adjust
skip.
your stereo. They skip.
Mhm.
I mean, and they're just not as you hold an album. I got one here.
Mhm.
You
got
hold
one
an
here.
album, and you're holding an album. I mean, this is big. You hold a CD, it's little.
Mhm.
And the
Big,
great thing about an album is you've got art in the front, right? You've
right?
got art in the middle of the sleeve with that record is art.
Yep.
Then you got art in the back sometimes, and then you want to know, hey, who's doing it? How did this happen? Who did this? This is incredible.
Mhm.
Right. And then you got, then you get the gate folds where it just opens up and you're just like, wow. And
Yeah,
that was half the reason why we bought these things was just
yeah,
because of the
man.
art.
Yeah,
And I've
Yeah.
got,
Mhm.
there's albums that are hanging on my walls because,
yeah,
I went and bought an extra copy just to have it so I can hang it because the
Yeah.
artwork is so great, or it's just one of them albums that changed your life. And now you can't hang an MP3.
So what's so nowadays, right? So nowadays, you either you either release an album, which is costly, or you do kind of what we've done. Is our money making enterprise has always been our merch, and
Yes.
Chris puts his art on a T-shirt,
Up
and
there.
God bless all the people that buy our merch. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's where we've made our money, and we don't do this for the money. But it's nice to put gas in the tank when we have to drive 5 hours or
Right.
6 hours to get
Exactly.
home.
Or
Yeah.
get
It's
a
like,
Happy Meal on the way to a show, you know?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's funny. It's you guys have always been from the get. Your merch has been on point. Everybody like you were the first band that I saw that literally had more than one or two T-shirts and a bumper sticker sitting on a table. It's like you guys came out, opened up the suitcase, and everything comes out of it, and it's just like, holy crap! There's 5 different T-shirts. There's hats. There's
Right.
glasses. There's all this stuff, and this was at a live show. This isn't on a merchandise page. This was live and in person at a show. So your merch game has always been on point.
On
Um,
point.
Mhm.
it's just, and I got tons of it. I know Mike's got tons of it. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
lots of people that have tons of it. Quite
Oh,
frankly.
yeah.
That's
Um,
honestly the biggest thrill to me to be anywhere or on social media and just out of the blue, I see somebody in a Babylon
yeah,
shirt. That's like,
Right.
because I used to, when you would see like Axl Rose in a junkyard shirt or a
right,
Right.
house shirt,
right.
it became legend. It's like incredibly flattering and overwhelming. So,
Right.
Well, it's funny in 2000, the Mork Cruise in 2019 that Wendy and I did, we took like our T-shirts mainly consisted of all local regional acts. Like we didn't wear any. I think, yeah, I don't even. I think I wore a Tora Tora shirt once on the boat, but everything else, we had Babylon Shake shirts. We had
Mhm.
like everybody that was fan band related or just involved with everything that we all do. It was just like we made the conscious decision that we're just packing all these
Right.
shirts, man,
mhm.
and it worked out great
Right.
because we got tons of people that walk up. Hey, what's that? Who's that? And it's like, oh,
Yep.
well, here, check this out. You know what I mean? It's the merch becomes the business card. You know what I mean? It's like instead of handing somebody a business card, the merch goes out and speaks for itself. It's one T-shirt that is now, keyed up 50 people on your band as opposed to one business card that got lost in somebody's pocket. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
but it's a band's only saving grace now
Yeah.
monetarily, and it's
Oh,
not just us. I mean, it's regional. It's everywhere, really. I mean,
Yeah.
tours and merch. I mean, because records just nobody. I mean, it's available. If it's free, why are you going to pay for it unless you're diehard? Which there are people like yourselves that do that, and I have friends that do that, and God bless them, and I appreciate it. But by and large, we're not going to. It would take us years to recoup the amount of money in production and recording and doing all that. I mean, merch we'll take care of that considerably faster.
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, so what's the plan here? Coming up. You guys gonna get this shindig on a live stage here soon?
Oh yeah, that's like I'm looking forward to that more than almost anything. I just really miss it. We're kind of like we've been talking. We're in record mode and have been pretty much since we kind of reconvened and started writing and putting this album together again. But we're going to switch over here soon and kind of start rehearsing and getting ready and booking some shows definitely waiting for some better weather. That's for sure.
Right.
March, April, yeah,
May
Right.
maybe.
possibly May. That's true.
Maybe.
May.
It is. Wait a minute. It is halfway through the show, Will.
It is halfway
It
through the
is
show.
halfway through the show.
Is exactly the segue we're rolling into.
You rolled right into that, didn't you?
So,
You're a pro at this, aren't you?
I've had a lot of time to think about our show over the last 2 years, man. So, M3. Look, everybody, people are going to scream and yell and complain about this every year. It's the same thing. M3's release dates as late as like this week for, they're going to do what they're going to do. But since everybody's been waiting patiently or not patiently, and I said, you know what, let me just put some tidbits out there about the pre-gathering. So don't have a date. Not going to tell you a date because I don't know anything. I never do. We're just all going on.
Fire.
What? I don't know squad douche. Okay. But we wanted to give you an opportunity to just have some early announcements. So, first band of the pre-gathering for this year's M3 festival on whatever date that should happen is no other than Babylon Shakes. So, guys, I appreciate you. He's gonna go crazy with these sound effects. This is going.
Found it today.
I appreciate the fact that you guys were willing to come play this. It means a lot to me. Again, we all go back with you guys as far as the inception, and for me to be able to book you on something outside of the studio here is really cool for me, and it's the right stage, I think, for you guys. Obviously, you could have been on any pre-party, but this weekend in particular, this is the right time to have you guys come back and just full-fledged, let them have it, let them eat. You know what I mean? And I can't thank you guys enough. It's gonna be awesome, and I think it's gonna be a really good welcome back for you guys.
Whatever date that might be.
Whatever date that might be.
TBD.
To be determined on when we're actually going to play.
Right.
Thanks, M3.
Thanks, M3. Jesus. I mean, come on.
We know it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
not like it's not gonna happen. And I'll be honest with you. I'll be totally honest with you. I'll share a little bit of tidbit here. If for some reason, M3, and this is pure speculation. I don't think this is the way it's going to go down. But if for some reason M3 doesn't happen this year, I'm still throwing this party.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still throwing these bands out there. And if M3 doesn't do a show this year, I have a feeling that there will still be a weekend of music going on up in this area. Just letting you know.
Yeah.
Date to be determined.
It's kind of weird because there's no leaks on bands, which is, you usually have at least 4 or 5 bands that have been leaked by now, and there's no leaks.
Well, there's a lot of speculation. Like, I think Ace Frehley, a bunch of people have thrown Ace Frehley out there in the mix.
But it's not.
Right.
Nothing's confirmed that I know of. I don't know.
But you know what your clues are, like, for example, like LA Guns. If you notice, they're playing right around the area, but there's
Right
a gap
around
on
the area.
Saturday.
Right.
That's the Michael. But
That's
I'm
a-
like, that's the only way. If you're like a fan, you're like
Right.
really looking for it. You're going, wait a minute, you know it's got to be them.
Right.
They're gonna be. But that's all you have right now, right?
That's
I
it.
mean,
Right.
That's the only band
But
that has
honestly,
like.
if you look at that, though, honestly, if you look at that and you look at where their dates are and how close they are to Merriweather, that actually tells me, because of contract issues, the way it always is, that they're not going to play M3, because that would be well within the windows and the mileage window of, I think usually the standard is like you can't play a month out in an 80-mile radius or something like that if you're going to be part of a festival. And I don't know if that's standard process, but I know that's in a lot of festivals. The fact that they did those dates all around M3, it says to me they're not going to be on the bill.
This is true too. And LA Guns has said, because they booked Riley's LA Guns, we'll never book there again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Phil tends to throw it out there a little bit, and
yeah, it's funny you all mention that, because again, we're speaking as fans right now, not necessarily our band, but we've been very lucky to be part of a lot of Brad Lee events
Mhm.
where You're playing in front of baby nationals. I don't know what they call it. Bigger national acts, and it's kind of we're always kind of taken aback by that because it's the love of music, and I don't care when you go on. I always like bands like Pretty Boy Floyd because they always kick ass even though they're playing first, and I've never heard them whine or complain about it. Maybe they
Right.
have. I've never heard. But my point is, some of these bands I think have just gotten a little out of control with their ego and just think,
Right.
Right.
and I'm not throwing LA Guns under the bus. I love LA Guns. Don't get me wrong; they're a
Right.
great band. But I think sometimes they feel like, well, we've put out 5 times as many albums as the headliner. Why aren't we headlining? You know
Right.
what I mean? So you get
Right.
stuff like that sometimes, and it's like, and you're just like, all right, I don't know where that comes from, but I haven't walked in their shoes. But my point is that is sort of the reality of why can't the band you want be on the bill, and it's either because of that or like you just said, it's a contract or they ask for too much money or and this year is it's going to be 3 days, so I'm thinking for that genre of music there's only so many bands, so it's either going to be everybody or it's going to be a few bands and they're going to play longer sets. I don't know because like in the past, right? It's always been the band. You've got this big lineup and they just kind of play their hits. They play for what 35, 40 minutes, depending on which time you are on the bill, and that's it.
Right. Well, there's another wrinkle to that. I don't know what's going on with my picture there. It's getting all fuzzy, but it the other wrinkle to that is too. They tell it's a 3-day festival. I think that their third day is actually their pre-party Friday night. I feel
I
like
think
because
so.
that's the same thing that they did last year. They didn't claim it as 3 days, but I think them throwing 3 days out there was also a way for them to kind of compete with what was announced for the Ocean City Festival. I think there was a lot of factors going on in that kind of way that all went down, and I'm not privy to it, so I don't know for sure. But like the Ocean City Festival made its announcement, and then it was what 2 days later we got the announcement of the announcement. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was. There's all these little things that are leading me to believe that they were scrambling. Now I don't think that that's going to turn into they're not having it, but I think they realize now. Okay, well somebody just moved in next door that could potentially. Yeah, it's been the festival's made money every year though. Otherwise he wouldn't do it. But he's never had any competition ever. In that kind of a space. So it'll just be interesting to see what comes out. I'll just wait like everybody else does. You know what I mean? And we'll see what's what.
Right.
I'm going
I-
either way. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I
mean
mean?
that's sad if it's that way because I don't think it's always about the bands. It's about the scene. We're a
Right.
big giant family. Everybody knows everybody.
Right.
Right.
It's the same dysfunctional rock and roll family. It was same on the Mork cruise.
Right.
The same thing, and it's a festival, man. It's an event, and
Right.
that would be a shame if they didn't have it.
It would
Right.
be. It would
Right.
be.
And I think they're going to have it. I really think they would not have put out something that says, "Hey, we are having it," and then them not have it. I mean,
Right.
I think they're waiting to sign everything. I think it's I'm thinking they got a different dynamic probably going to happen this year. I don't know, but I really think I'm leaning toward it's going to be something really special and really good because I'm hoping that's more or less what it is. I know I'm coming is like you said, Jeff. It's more than just a festival. It's going to see people that I don't see. Yes, I go to Mork. I see many people there, but there's some people that don't do Mork that do M3. So then I
Right.
like to try to go to M3 too. Then there's people that don't do that do either one of them, and they do the Mountain Festival in Tennessee. So I like to go there, and then you can catch up. You can hit 3 different dates a year and catch up with everybody,
Right.
or every couple of years keep switching them out and do this one and then not that one because I did have somebody say one day, Katie, one day she's like, I've been 3 years since I've been at M3 and I go on Mork. She goes, so you traded us at M3 for Mork. And I kind of was like, oh wow, I never really looked at it like that.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, next year I'm going to M3. So I did,
Yeah.
but
Hey, bear with me for a minute, man. You can take me off here if you want, Mike. I got somebody at the door. I don't know
Oh,
what's
nice.
going on, man.
Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah,
Wait
it
a
might
minute.
be.
Bring
It
him
might be.
on.
Girl
It might
Scout.
be. Bring him on.
Bring
Listen
him
to Mike.
on.
Bring him on camera. We'll just
Bring
bring
him
it
on.
on. It'll be great.
Okay, there was a question back here that I didn't get to that I really want to get to. Where did it
I'll be right back.
go? Oh, here it is. Let's address the elephant in the room and
That would
answer
be
the
Jeff.
question. Everyone is asking, are there any songs on the new album about Chris Carroll?
All of my
Yeah,
songs
there
are about
actually
Chris
is.
Carroll. Chris Carroll
There actually is,
embodiment.
huh?
Yeah,
He is everything
there
that
actually
is
is.
Babylon Shakes.
The album is about Chris Carroll.
No, it's not just one song, it's the whole album. I know he was waiting. He's like, "Oh, they're not going to get to my question," you know. But yeah, I mean, Chris Carroll's everywhere. I mean, he's the rock star. We all know this.
True. Yeah.
Yes, he
This
is.
is true.
He is a man about town. He is a man of many talents.
Many talents, not a
Yeah.
master of any, just a man of many talents.
Man knows a good chili dog. He knows a good chili dog, man. He's Mr. BNAN.
Um, he also wants to know, when will the new merch be available?
Mm.
We talked about merch and how
Mhm.
there's always merch. Babylon is very well known about their merch. So when will the new merch become available?
I would say that answer to that question would be similar to if we're going to go out as a 3-piece or a 4-piece. Right now, we're just in writing mode, we're in
Yep.
producing mode, we're in mixing mode. I think once we have a concept of which songs we're going to pick, how we're going to shoot a video, how we're going to do photography for it, I think will influence those things. They'll all kind of fall into place once we get the record completely finished. We'd like to get it done and have it finished and released by the end of March.
Oh, nice. Very nice. I know I don't think you guys have set a date for that yet, or I missed it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool. We do have. Chris sent me a little picture. The new set, the next single coming out. I think, Chris, when did you say it was coming?
we're aiming for, I would say, early next month, possibly like, I don't know, maybe Valentine's Day-ish. Yeah, a
Okay.
song called Sister Moonlight. Yeah.
That'll be the next one being released. And I
Yeah.
always love the cover art of what you guys got. It's so cool. I mean, and that's
Thank
half the reason why we like um, songs.
Yeah.
The art gives you kind of a little bit of a sense of maybe what the song is going to be. But you sent me that this morning. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool, man.
The visual appeal. Yeah,
Yeah.
this song's really cool. This is one of my favorites, and it was probably the second one written
Mm.
for this whole record and this um, era of the band. But it reminds me, when I was writing it, I kept thinking about like songs from horror movies in the '80s. Remember, like
Mm.
Dokken did Dream Warriors,
Right.
um, the Fast Way doing the Trick or Treat
That's
soundtrack.
like one of my
That
favorites.
whole vibe is this song, and
Hmm.
it's cool. It's got some 12-string acoustic guitar in it. It's heavy. There's a solo. It's probably one of the best guitar solos I've ever done. Um,
Really?
just rips through it. The chorus
Yeah.
is so catchy. Oh,
Can we play a little bit of that?
Go ahead.
I don't know if Gary can hear Jeff or I. So Mike or Will, you might want to just ask Gary if he would do that.
Hey, Gary.
Three,
Yes.
two,
No, we
Uh,
hear him, Gary.
they'd like to know if we could hear a little bit of Sister Moonlight.
Um. Yeah, I can't hear Chris or Jeff, so I'm just kind
Yeah,
of curious.
that's what they
It's
asked me.
so
They said,
weird.
"Hey, it's kind of weird."
I can hear you and Will
Good.
Bill, whatever his name is.
Will Bill. It's
Yeah.
Will Bill.
Whatever his
Yeah.
I like
name is.
So it's
Maybe you
like
should
I'm
try calling.
listening, but I can't hear anything. So it's kind of like
Maybe because you're on your
it's hard
phone.
to
Maybe
ab
you log
lib what you're
into
talking
your
about. But
PC.
yeah, I don't know what it's going to sound like over the
Hey,
phone. But let me go back here. I don't know if you can hear it.
Oh, I could hear that.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah.
I dig it.
That's all you get.
I like it.
Yeah, it's got that choking guitar, man.
Yeah,
It's
man.
it
Yeah.
sounds. Oh, I like it.
Mhm.
It's kind of going back to the Black Crowes album, like, or Shout the Devil, where the guitars are kind of not reverbed. They're all dry,
Mhm.
Right.
no effects. So I don't know if you noticed that on the first recording that we released, but yeah.
Hmm.
So there's no effects. I put no effects on the guitars. It's just dry,
Nice.
Nice.
which kind of sounds old school to me, like back
Which
in the day.
I love old school. Jeez.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah,
that's
like
where it's at.
yeah. The Black Crows album was that. I can't remember the name of the album now.
Southern Harmony.
Which
No,
Jeff probably knows, but uh,
The best
they
Black
use
Crowes
no
album.
reverb. You know what I
Southern
mean? They
Harmony.
use yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
No reverb or nothing. It's just dry.
Right. And it's
If you listen to it,
I love that shit. There's times where I like to get like the band will release a demo record. Later down the road they'll release the demos of something, and it's like, wow, they sound so raw and
Yeah.
so
right?
great before they were layered over and polished, and
Yeah,
this, that, the other thing. I love that raw sound, and it's just there's
yeah.
nothing better than that.
I like the heavily produced stuff. I mean, like
Oh yeah,
Ice Nine Kills. I was listening to them today. It's like it. It's so processed that to me it takes the meat and potatoes out of the song. It's
right,
just where drummers are not actually playing drums and stuff like that. It just I don't know. I like seeing everybody play their instrument,
right.
Yeah.
and not like make a drum track by your finger and a mouse.
Yeah.
Um, I
Exactly.
just don't like that.
No,
There's
I mean, again, I think it sounds good because I
right.
mean they put their effort into it, but as far as that goes, it's not real.
right.
Now there's a
Mhm.
place for it when, say, Chris or you are sitting around and you're trying to lay down a
Oh
guitar track.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah, you got that in the background because you're trying, but not to do it on an album. I mean,
right.
when these musicians,
Unless you're Trent Reznor or somebody like that, you know what I mean? Where
Mhm.
right,
that's your genre, you know what I mean, and it's all
right,
Yeah.
digital. But in
right.
rock and roll, it's
No,
it's not allowed, man.
no,
It shouldn't be.
absolutely,
It shouldn't
no.
be.
It's
It's no,
communist to do that. No
It's like
there's
way.
it's
there's
like I know I
nothing
suck. It's like I know I suck. I'm gonna ram this down your throat. You either like it or you don't. You know what I mean?
there's
So
nothing
Right,
that drives me more insane is when I go into to see a live show somewhere and a band comes up and they start playing and I hear bass, but I don't see a bass player, or
right.
I'll hear, a guitar track that I'm not seeing a musician on stage playing and I'm like, "Wait a minute, man. I can't." I've left venues and walked out on bands that use tracks instead of actual musicians on stage just because it drives me nuts. I hate that,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's here nor there, but
right,
it's
Just
to me
personal opinion.
to me dirty rock and roll or whatever you're playing is if you're not doing it yourself, then you're kind of cheating the game, you know?
right.
Yep.
If you notice now, you go to YouTube and you'll see an image, okay, and a video, and the band's name sounds cool, and you know how that's how we picked a lot
Yeah,
of bands back in the day.
that's how
That's a
you picked
cool name,
wine.
right?
Yeah.
Now they are sitting there, and it's all AI, and you go to the comment section or you go to the description. It says this is AI, and it's like all the music and everything is not done by live people. It's
Mhm.
not a real band. It's fake. And I'm like, you motherfuckers. And they get me every now. I'll be like, wow, this kind of sounds cool. It's like this is AI. But you can hear a little bit of it where you're like, this doesn't have soul to it. It doesn't
There it
have
is.
Yeah.
feeling to it. It
There
just
it is.
feels like it's computer processed. And,
It's stock.
it sucks.
It's
It does suck.
Stop
You know,
doing that. These people
I,
are
I
going
can
way
kind of
too
see.
far with this shit.
I can
Yeah,
kind of see
I
two.
agree.
It's a double-edged sword, though. I kind of see two sides to that story, both as an artist and as a fan. From a fan standpoint, absolutely 100% will what you said exactly. If it's not there, I don't. This is bullshit. It's not what I want to see. But on the artist standpoint, you also have to look at, man, everybody has a freaking camera and a microphone on their phones, man. It's always this all the time. Some people don't even watch the show, they just tape it the whole time and
Right.
don't enjoy it.
Drives
So
me
they're going to go
nuts.
back and they're going to watch it, and anything you do wrong, or oh, he's off right there, or this isn't right, it's hard to compete with that. And I'm talking about a regional band that has to do it night after night after night after night, and it's always the worst show. And then
Right.
it'll be on Facebook. And hey, look, such and such flubbed this, or watch them fall down and trip, because that's the entertainment of it, right? But then they're
Right.
like, and they're going, oh. So I think they do things like that, especially with like tracks with like vocals or things like that. I'm not saying it's right, but I understand at least the motivation to do that.
Right.
Right.
I ain't saying it's right. I'm just saying it, as they say,
It's,
right? It's
you're just
just that's
saying
just what we live in.
it's
But I
what we
think,
live in.
but from a band like us, for example, to me that's great because we can prove to them that it's homegrown. Everything
Right.
we've done is organic. It really is. I mean, to the bone. We are
Exactly.
live. You know exactly what to expect. You'll see it. You can videotape it, flaws and everything. It's like
Right.
you said, Michael. That's what I love about rock and roll. It's dirty and it's raw. It's not meant to be cleaned and
Nope.
polished. Have a backing track. If you're that bad and you can't do it, then maybe you shouldn't.
Maybe you shouldn't.
That's how
Now,
I
there
feel
was a
about.
time when I think you were on the same Mosses Rock cruise as I was. Heat was playing, and their keyboardist couldn't make it. They came out on stage and they said, "Hey," before they even did the show, they said, "Hey, you're going to hear keyboards. He's not here,
Right.
but we're going to pipe him in. Is that okay?"
Yeah.
They were upfront. They're like, "Hey, it's not. We don't do this all the time, but we had to do this because he's not here. We could either not have the keyboards part of the song, which is part of the song, they're melodic
Yeah.
rock, and overwhelmingly everybody was for it. We didn't mind, but you were upfront and honest about it right off the rip.
I
So
wondered
that
if
that
they've
was
been. I wondered if everybody though would have been so agreeable to it if it was the guitar player that wasn't there. And I'm not
right.
taking anything away from any musician that plays anything in a band, but from the aspect of a lot of fans, the keyboard player is not somebody they really care about, whether they see them visually or not. But if you take somebody like the guitar player, the lead guitar player, somebody who's always going to have a focus on him, and you say, "Hey, yeah, sorry, he's not here tonight, but we're just going to play tracks of him." I
Right.
have a feeling it might be a different outcome.
If Gary
But you know what?
Sharon announced that Nuno Betancourt ain't here, but we're going to
Right.
pipe him in, people
Right.
would lose their shit.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I think the truth of the matter to that, I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think some people care. Well, Nuno, of course, yeah, Nuno wasn't there. You'd be right.
I'm
That's
leaving.
one extreme case. But I think it depends, right? I think in the Heat example, which is a good one, I think some people care and some people don't care.
Right.
And either way, though, I think the bottom line is the show must go on regardless.
Right.
But again, that's that scenario.
Right.
Right. No, I mean, I'm all for, like, I don't mind a backing track if it's something like a keyboard, or if it's an intro or an outro or something that's kind of going on, speaking wise, if there's something
Behind.
going on and underlaying in the back of the song, or I don't mind any of that. It's just, again, I want to see a musician playing one of those main instruments, the guitar, the bass, or the drums. I don't want to have that tracked in
Yeah,
there.
I mean that circles back to your worth and what you've paid. It goes back to
Right.
cost, right? Because bands aren't making any money on their album sales; they're making money on their live shows and their merch, and that's why everything's so doggone expensive, especially a live show. So if you're paying that money to see your favorite band, you have a certain expectation and demand from that, and again, it varies, right? But everybody has their line in the sand. If it's not like this, then I won't go see it. But
Right. And that's what used to set rock and roll apart. Okay, you had the stadium people, the pop, the disco, that we're really weren't playing live instruments. So you got Beyonce out there, all her shit's piped in, and what sets rock and roll apart from the fucking wannabes is we're live, we're raw, we make mistakes. Who gives a fuck? We just want to have fun. We're not polished. We're not we're we're the black cat over here, man, and we're cooler than all you other people think you are. That's just my thing. I don't like if you're gonna pipe in your vocals, get off the fucking stage. Goodbye. You know, if you're gonna lip sync, then you're no better than Beyonce, and I can't stand her. So guess what? Get off the stage. If you can't sing no more, done. But if you're Don Dawkins, you can't sing, but you're gonna try. I'm all for that. I'll pay to see you.
Well, and Don's smart about it, dude. He's always got people. Well, he wasn't for a long time, but he's definitely gotten better at it over the years where he allows, somebody else to bring in the high vocals. They'll turn them up, turn Don down, you know what I mean? And he's learned how to because his shows still sound great. And it's because he's not doing those Don Dokken tricks that he's always done. So, but he understands that people are paying to hear. They don't want to hear him, flubbing it every night. Nobody wants to. People stop going to come to the show. So he's learned to say, okay, I'm going to let my band help me out here and make it sound as best as it can. So I commend Don Dokken, man. I really do.
Yeah, right. And to that point, like that's again back to the double-edged sword of everybody having a camera phone and filming it and putting it on YouTube. You start becoming accountable to that when you're not cutting it anymore, and people
Right.
stop doing. And again, like Vince Neil, they still make fun of him. Key stop, ah. I mean, how many times have you heard that? The abominable snowman picture, like stop sending me this,
Right.
He's cleaned up his act a little bit. Dirty
Right.
and raw, yes, but sloppy and overbooking myself and not doing my job and really falling off. That's where the rubber meets the road, or not necessarily that, but that's where you draw the line. Like, okay, man, it's okay to have an off night, but
Yeah.
that's just taking a night off, man.
Some people get it, and some people understand that if you're going to want to continue on in this business longer than you probably should, then you have to make adjustments. You have to do things, and I don't mean adding backing tracks, but having somebody else that's on stage with you. Don's a perfect example of it.
That's always been a question. I used to hear that in what was it? Not Blabbermouth, but like sludge metal. Now, you used to always have this question to all the artists. They were like, an artist would ask another artist, like, they'd ask, like, for example, like Zach Wild. They'd ask, like, Zach Wild, hey, should Kiss, pack it up and call it a day? And they always, skate around the question. But, to me, it's like, look, it's not what I think if I think they should pack it up or call it a day. The bottom line is, how much tickets do they sell? I mean, how many times have you had artists sometimes that go, well, we had to cancel this leg of our tour because we weren't selling any tickets.
Right.
The bottom line is, whether you think they should hang it up or call it a day or not, really doesn't matter. It's who buys the tickets.
Right.
The promoter puts it out. They're still marketing. People still want to pay to go see them. Why should they turn it down?
Why should you stop?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
People are buying tickets. People are buying merch. People are buying your albums. Guess what? You're not stopping. Don't stop because then you let them down. Don't listen to the silent minority.
Yeah, it could be my opinion, but you know what? Right. If I don't like them or I feel that way, you just don't buy the tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't buy anything Led Zeppelin related.
Oh, here we go. I like Led Zeppelin.
That's why Dom said it best, man. He goes, "That's why they got the 31 flavors, man."
There you go.
There's always a band, in rock and roll. It's great. We're such passionate bands, and that's why it's the same reason why people gripe on M3 about the lineup. They don't like these artists, or they're like, because they're passionate. They love their sect of bands, right? And then there's some bands they're just so passionate about hating, or artists or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of that out there. And it's funny. Let's talk about industry for a minute. Aside, band from aside, since we're kind of in that area right at the moment, there are so many people fan-wise that don't understand or have a grasp of what it takes to put a show together. And there are so many people that are quick to get out there on social media and spew what they think they know, in when in true reality they have no clue. And whether it's a small end show like I do or it's a festival show, there's not many differences. The similarities are still very much the same in setting up a show and how it works and booking the talent and booking the venue, and it's a lot. And for people to throw out some of the comments that I've heard, I'm not going to repeat them, but you guys have seen them, especially in certain groups. People are just hateful as hell, and they throw their opinions out as if they're fact, and it disturbs me because we all in this room right now, we know they don't know what they're talking about. They're talking through their butthole. You know what I mean? But there are so many people that aren't avid music goers that are listening to these people, when they're spouting their crap, and they take that for truth. And it's like, I really need people to just mellow out and just let, if you're not within the business or you don't work within the business, don't offer your opinion. Don't just sit down and shut up and wait for it, because, these people sound really stupid, and it pains me, when that stuff happens, because it's a lot, man. It's a lot. Somebody asked me, you do on the average of 4 or 5 shows a year, whether it's at the studio or whether it's at Fishhead, and they're like, why don't you do more? Are you kidding me?
You're gonna give me the money to
No.
put up?
Yeah, it's not even so much the money, it's just the time. Jeff
Planning.
he mentioned it earlier, the timing and the planning and all the things that go into it that are not of monetary value, just the things that you donate your time to, whether you be a musician or a label or a promoter. It's an immense amount of time, and people, again, behind the scenes know what goes on, but people that are just avid fans, they have no clue, what strains that people can be under for these kind of things. Strain is something that I've seen drop good promoters out of this business, and it's pretty sad to see it. We all know Brad. We're all friends with Brad. We love him to death. He got a lot of heat from a lot of people that were talking out of their ass, and it has an effect on people, man. Whether it's a band you're talking about or a promoter, it has an effect on people. I'm looking forward to the day that Brad comes back into the fold in some way, shape, or form. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's just a matter. It's going to be on.
Patch it out of the person.
Yeah, and you can't. He's got that passion tenfold like we all do, and it's for those of us that know Brad and know him well, right where he's coming from. It's a straight deal, and he's gonna make things happen. If he says they're gonna happen this way, he's gonna do his damnedest to make it happen that way. But I'm touching on this whole fan thing because I've seen good people in this business get driven out based on people just running their mouths. You know what I mean? And it's sad to see. I'm glad that we have, as a music fam, if you look at most of us in our music family, dude, we don't have that. We have nothing but support. Even if somebody doesn't, there's bands out there that I've had discussions with guys, and they're like, how come you don't like my band? I'm like, listen, I can like you without liking your band. You know what I mean? Like, I can still like you and have a relationship with you and talk music and do all the things. I don't have to be into your band. I'm not going to bash them. You know what I mean? Just because of, whatever reason. The scene is getting edgy again, dude. It's like we had a little regrowth there for a while where everybody seemed like they were all kind of helping each other out. And now I'm seeing a lot more of that band stuff of, well, I can't say a good thing about this band because that's a detriment to my band and what I'm trying to do. And I hate that that's trying to rear its ugly head again. But it's out there, man. And people that follow what Mike does, follow what I do, follow what Babylon Shakes, some of the other bands do, you guys get the idea that this is a bigger family than what you're looking at. You know what I mean? If you look at the bands like Babylon and Rat Rod and some of these other bands, the support that they have because of what we all do collectively. You know what I mean? Like you guys, you used to bounce up to Philly a lot and play with those bands up there. Lady Diesel, all those guys. There's more of that needs to keep happening again. You know what I mean? I think the fam has got it down. If we can get, a lot more people on board with this, I think that all these bands can get out there a lot more. And what I mean travel. You know what I mean? Like a lot of you guys, I know you guys, if the right schedule is set up and you go on a quick, weekend stint and hit 3 dates in 3 different states, if it's set up and everybody's aware of it, it'll go down with no problem. You know what I mean? It's when these bands try to put stuff together with other bands, and I know you guys have had this happen too. Things fall through. It's like you're trying to set this up and you're trying to set that up, and then you get there and it's not, what it was supposed to be. That makes it harder for bands to say, yeah, I want to go to Nashville and play here, or I want to go to Georgia and play here. But if we can get enough people, we talk about it all the time, like-minded people in different places, and actually set these little mini tours up, it gives bands like Babylon a way bigger shot than what they're going to have just here local regionally.
Yeah, the funny thing about this is there's really 2 things that come to mind. Well said. I would say one is, guys like you that promote stuff, you and Michael, and what you guys do. It's kind of like things they say, and I'll use a sports term. It's kind of like that don't show up on the stats. There's things that people do that really go a little bit above and beyond, that really make it special and make it better. It's that secret ingredient that, again, it doesn't show up on the stats, but it's important. And it matters. Like the little details of what makes a show run. I was fortunate enough to, like I said, go to a Bradley, Rocklanta, and I talked to
That was
the
a great
crew.
show.
Yeah, it was great because I got full access, and it was the first time as an artist I had full access pass, and talked to the road crew, and just seeing what it takes to make a rock show roll is it's so humbling, and it's so much bigger than yourself. But when those guys work together and they have a brotherhood that make that thing work, then the sound guys, stage guys, the guys that are doing all the grunt work, and it is just it's humbling, and that doesn't show up on the stats. It doesn't get any appreciation, but those guys love it, and there's an old saying: you better love the music or whatever it is that you do, because sometimes it don't love you back.
Nope.
And that's kind of how you insulate yourself. A little shield. Over the years, I've learned that there's been so much disappointment. When you're an artist and you're starting out and you're a fan of music and you put all this time and all this energy in it, and you don't really get the success that you wanted, you sort of go through those motions. But then you realize, you know what? It's never been about money or fame anyway. Those things are great, but it's the love of music. That's what this band is. That's what we do. Because it's just the love, and we feel good when we do it. That kind of gets you through those guys. That for us, that's what gets us through all the absolute shit show and shitstorm of stuff that it was supposed to go this way, but it went this way. That's rock and roll, man. And
you roll with it.
Yeah.
Just roll with it, adapt and overcome.
Well, I mean, none of us do this for money. I mean, again,
No.
it's this thing behind me bleeds more money than it makes, and it's fine. It's not fine, but it's fine because it's at the end of the day, I got involved in this for one reason, was to help musicians that I know. You know what I mean? It's very similar to Mike's reason for getting involved in with it. It's we wanted to be able to. I think Brad said it once, and it really resonated when he said it too. He said, "I got into this because I got tired of my friends getting screwed over." You know what I mean? Like that was his point to jump him into the scene and what was going on. And I've always thought about that, and I was like, that's the reason why we all do this. It's just, if you make money along the way, like Jeff just kind of said, if you make money along the way, excellent. You know what I mean? There's a bonus. But if you're expecting money to be made, then
you're going to be disappointed.
Just stop.
Very
just
disappointed.
Stop right now.
Very disappointed.
I had a band that nobody ever around here has ever heard of, and I think I told Mike about this. Called me up, said, "Hey, I hear you do studio shows and da da da," and I was like, "Yeah," and they said, "Okay, well, we'd love to come play your show," and I was like, "Well, that's awesome. Let's see what happens," and I put a show together, and okay, yeah, well, we're gonna need $500. And I went, Okay, call somebody else. I said, I don't know who you guys are. I get that you're a traveling band and you're trying to make things work, but I'm not just going to give you $500 to come play in my little humble studio that holds 70 people. You know what I mean? And with nobody around here knowing who you are, and it's that kind of attitude that I don't like to. Anytime somebody comes, I'm not above anybody that's ever played a show for me. I'm not above paying bands. That's not, that's never a problem. But when somebody kind of demands and they're not anybody that's deserving, it kind of really it gets under my craw, man. It's just like, well, how do you think would I don't understand how people think that way. I really
Some
don't.
bands that are too high, and we'll put a price tag on this, right? Because there is a price tag on certain things. There's $200 bands out there thinking that they're $1,000 band.
Right.
Okay, if you're going to think that way, you're not going to gig. There's
Right.
$1,000 bands out there taking $200 gigs because they just want to play.
Right.
And it's
Right.
like, you know, you could tell the ones that want to play. I've had bands come to me and go, doesn't matter, don't care. Just
Yeah.
pay me however much you want.
Mhm.
They'd never ask a price. I throw a number at them and they go, okay, cool. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but do you have the bands that go ahead.
The sad reality of it too is, unfortunately, sometimes you get to meet your heroes and play with your heroes, and
Yes.
some of them, I I can tell you just not. I'm not name dropping. I'm not saying I play with everybody in the world. I haven't, but I know enough to say that they're at a point where they have to do it for money, and they
Yes.
have to demand amount
Oh
of
yeah.
money. Again, there might be an owner or somebody like Will that might just say, like, I don't care who you are, you're not going to sit here and demand a bunch of money from us. Go pound sand.
Yeah.
That's the reality. But they got to make money somehow because this is all they do.
Right.
I almost like, again, be careful what you wish for. At this stage of my life, I don't think I'd want to live hand to mouth.
No.
Not but it's
No.
it ain't easy. It ain't easy.
No.
And again, and they're still doing it, but because they have to,
No.
And
I'm,
I think
I'm
that puts pressure on you.
right. I was basically talking about like the local bands.
Yeah,
Not not the bands that are worthy of that money. Hell
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll pay you. If a Firehouse says, "Hey man, we'd like to play your show," okay, cool. And they say, "Hey, we want $20,000." Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you're gonna draw.
Right.
Right.
You're gonna draw. You're gonna
Oh
help me
yeah,
to sell tickets. But if
I
you're a
think
local band saying, "I want $1,000,"
yeah,
and you've got 5 people following you
right,
on Facebook, guess what, dude? You're not gonna draw for me.
Right.
yeah,
you know. But and you also have the local bands that just want to play and help. I have one band that I did a show, and one of the bands that was one of the headliners noticed one of the opening bands, and they have contacted this bass player has now he's in another band as well, and he contacted me and said, "Hey, we'd like to, add Charleston as a date. Is it possible?" I'm like, sure. Um, he's like, "Hey, and can we get that one band?" And he named the band. Can they open for us? Because we really liked them. And that was one of the bands that decided to do the show that I contacted because I heard of them and I liked them. I said, "You want to be on this bill?" They said, "Sure." They didn't ask for a dime. They didn't want anything. It was for Toys for Tots. They're just like, but now one of the bands that they opened for got a hold of me, wants to do a show, and wants that band to open for them again. And this time they getting paid whether they like it or not.
Right.
I reached out to them. I said, "Hey, this band asked for you to open." Sure. They didn't even ask for anything again,
Right.
but they're going to get paid because guess what? This band, you did me right once. I'm going to do you right the next time,
yeah,
Right.
and that's just
That
how,
goes a long
yeah.
way.
Yeah,
right.
we've always been grateful. Just if we've got enough for gas
Right.
and paid
Mhm.
for our hotel room when we had to travel, that's a good time. You
Yeah.
know,
It's
it really is. I mean,
we make enough in streaming to basically put out another single on all the streaming platforms. To be
Right.
quite honest with you, there's always enough there to like release the next one, and that's hey, that's fine.
If it gets you to your next one,
It gets
you
to the next one.
gets to
Yeah.
the next one. Hey, it is what it is anymore.
It's
Yeah.
funny,
Nobody
Mike.
has.
It's funny how you talk about how like you're gonna have that band back. It's like this time they're getting paid. You know what I mean? It's when you have a band that doesn't even discuss money and just says, "Okay, I want to come play." I've had it on a couple shows where the show's over and I walk out and I'm handing bands some money. Whatever I took
Right.
in, the bands are going to make some money. And then one guy was packing his car up and I come over and I was like, hey man, I was like, here. And I'm holding an envelope and he's looking at me with a puzzled look on his face. And he's like, what's this? And I said, that's cash for playing the show. And he just looked at me like I had three heads. And I was like, boy, if you're looking at me like that, you don't get paid enough. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're obviously, not getting paid enough. But I love seeing that. I love just that kind of reaction because it tells me right there, it's like, okay, I've gained a new fan. You know what I mean? Because this guy understands that if he does come and play a show for me, even if it's $100, if it's $300, whatever it is, if I make money, you're going to make money. It's,
Right.
the only way you don't make any money playing a show for me is if we totally bust and I don't get anybody to come through the door. You know what I mean?
I've
But
been in
it's-
situations too where we've played with bands out of state, and they paid us. They didn't give us a
Right.
lot. They paid us. They out of their pocket paid us.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
And they didn't make any money that night either, and they still paid us
Yeah.
just enough to get back. That's freaking cool, man.
Right.
You know?
And that's bands that get it. You know what I mean? Bands that totally, totally get it and understand, okay, well, we're all local except them. They traveled 6 hours to come up here and play this show.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody give me $20. You know what I mean? Let's just give these guys some gas money and some food money. But all that stuff goes a long way, man, in your psyche as a musician, especially. You know what I mean?
That builds
Again, it's-
community too.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Unity. Exactly.
It makes me want to pay it forward, man, and do the same thing for another band.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's some bands out there that I've dealt with too that are, and it's so weird how they do this. And I get it if you're in an area that you don't. There's not a big musical following, but some of these bands that want to come down and play with other bands down here, but they never want to invite, the bands from down here up to where their area is.
Right.
And I get that in a sense where if they're from an area that doesn't really have a whole lot of a music scene, I get that. You know what I mean? But I've seen so many times where, and we're going back to like bands just being in for themselves. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, yeah, I'll come down there and play a show. That's awesome. And you're coming down here to play to these bands' hometown crowd. So you're playing to the crowd. And then you go home and like Mort's talking about, it becomes a reciprocation, but there's a lot of bands out there that won't. They just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, they're not going to last very long because nobody puts up with that rock star crap anymore.
Nope.
Amateurs.
No.
You know that's over. If you're in it for yourself, you're not going to be. That band isn't going to be around very long
No.
Right.
unless
And
you're paying your own way.
Which is
Right.
why Babylon Shakes is going to be around for a while.
Right. There you go.
Bada
There
bing.
you go.
Right.
There you
What else am I going to do?
go.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to get out there? Any questions you want to ask Will? Because we're starting to run out of time.
Are we?
Yeah.
Why don't we play? Why don't we play one more? Why don't we play Lipstick? Why don't we play?
Lipstick? Hey,
Lipstick Killer. Yeah.
Hey, Pedro. They're
Pedro,
requesting
it's
lipstick.
Pedro now.
They're requesting that you play a little bit of lipstick.
Maybe play like
God.
the first like minute of that track.
First
Play like-
minute of that track is what Turd Ferguson just said.
Yes.
We're all turds around here, man.
Hey, I'm a plumber. That should speak volumes.
Really, I got some pipes you can clean.
Dude,
What's that, Pedro?
I feel like I'm mute because I can't hear what anybody's saying. So I'm just like,
Need you
but
to
it's a blessing because
play
they're talking.
some.
Yeah, he's talking. He's talking right now. Actually,
He's happening right now.
Pretty cool because I can't.
Consider yourself very lucky.
All right, let me see if
That's true.
look at that, Chris.
Yes.
Where'd it go?
Thanks from Yanko. Appreciate that.
Mhm.
Love you, man. Love you, Chris from Yanko.
We can't hear it this
Can't
time.
hear it.
There it is.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it went.
Everybody shush. Boo.
Oh no!
Yeah, we're not hearing it.
It's like in
Oh
and out.
no!
It's patchy. It's like jumping around. I can't hardly hear it at all there,
The
Pedro.
phone sucks, dude.
Huh?
Hear it?
No,
Couldn't hear
it's
it.
like going in and out.
Mm.
Oh,
Probably because of the phone. That's all right.
It's all right. We'll hear it
PC.
when the album comes out. But what we did hear sounded great.
Mhm.
second niplet.
Huh?
Oh shit. So let's touch base on one more thing real quick.
There's nothing real quick with you.
I think I swear you're just trying to push me, Mike. He's just trying to push me now. I see how this is working. He's over there pushing buttons. So let me say this real quick. Again, Mike said we're on a time limit here. I think what you guys do as a band is extremely important to guys like myself, especially that thrive on music and the vibe that it gives me on any given day. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Aside from the music, individually, you know, we're friends, and it's an amazing to have your friendship. The fact that you guys are a kick-ass band together is just a bonus. Anytime, you know, that myself or Mike can do anything for this band, please, you know, if you got something urgent coming up and you want to get on the show and just get it out there to people, man, as always, as in the past, anytime, you know, you guys feel like you want to reach out and say something, just reach out. We'll make it happen. You know, Mike and I were talking in the beginning, we made the reference as a fam band. It may sound a little funky, but it's truth. You know, this is a band that has evolved and revolved around a specific music family. And we can't thank you guys enough for what you've given us in the past, what you're going to continue to give us. And we're just going to push the music, man. That's what we do. That's what Mike does. That's what all of us do. And we're going to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And we'll just keep going until the wheels fall off, guys. I mean, we're not going to go anywhere. You're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? We're always going to be here no matter what you guys do. I think you're always going to have that support. You've never left a bad taste in anybody's mouth. You've never done anything. It's a testament to you guys as people, you know, aside from being a band. You didn't make waves. You know, the waves that you made were sound waves. You know what I mean? They weren't waves of trying to isolate or push anybody away. And I think that resonates for your band as well as the music. You know what I mean? Anytime you have that tie-in together of both really great music and really great human beings, you know, there's an atmosphere there that every time you guys, you know, perform live, that from the first person to ever see you to somebody who's seen you 20 times, that energy's there and you're sucked into it. And I can't wait to see you guys live at the pre-gathering, date to be determined.
TV.
But yeah, man, thanks for coming on and doing our first show with us again back. It worked out perfectly. You know, you guys had new music. We had, you know, you guys were on the show, I think 2 other times, possibly even 3 other times. Again, always welcome here, man. And thanks again, guys, for joining us today. It's been freaking awesome.
Well, first off, likewise, man. It takes a village, man. It takes all of us. So thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
having us. Seriously, that's really cool of you to say thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And
buddy.
you guys were a unanimous choice when we
Yeah.
decided to, you know, who we're going to have on first. Both of us were on the same page. Babylon.
Yeah.
Same page.
See, you guys announced everything at just the right time. It was all coming together at just the right
Yeah.
cataclysmic, you know, events in history.
Think about this too. I was thinking about this the other day. You know, it's 2025. We became like good friends, family 10 years ago.
Yeah, man.
That first pre-party and M3. You know,
Yeah.
2015.
yeah.
2015 was the year that,
2015.
you know, we've talked about it numerous times. People are probably tired of hearing of it. It's so true. There was something in the air M3 2015. There was a lot of us that met that year that really, we really just rooted in with each other and just kind of hung on and adopted each other, if you will. And yeah, God, it's been 10 years, man. That's crazy.
We were all talking in the M3 Rockers group, making
Yeah, in the
plans,
chat groups
and
and
then we
stuff. Yeah.
all met up, and it was just like, from that moment on, it was just
Yeah.
family. We got to know each other in a group, and then we got to finally meet face to face at M3 on 2015, and it was
Yeah.
magical, man. It was such a great weekend.
Yeah,
So
really.
yeah, this will be the 10th anniversary M3 for us, if you think about that.
Then we all have to be there.
That sounds like it's got to happen, man.
Oh, we got to get this out there. It's got to be an event.
Yes.
10
Well,
years.
I think
Yeah.
maybe we'll have to tag that onto the pre-gathering poster. We'll have to tie
Oh,
that in
there we
somehow.
go.
There
Yeah.
we
Yellow
go.
shooters,
There you
yellow shooters in the parking lot.
Jello shooters, Jello wrestling.
Pudding shots. Pudding shots.
I like pudding shots. That's right.
Pudding shots. Tell Margie get on it, Chris. Pudding
Uh-oh,
shots.
there she is. Yeah.
Margie,
It's our
I'm
10-year
gonna
anniversary.
need a couple non-alcoholic like you made me that one time. That'd be great.
Hey, Mike, don't do that with your hand. That doesn't look right.
Well, Jeb said earlier he had to keep his hands busy or something all the time. I was like, I'm not touching that one. Not at all. You know, whatever.
Look, see, Margie says it
There's,
right there.
there's a puppy in there somewhere.
Oh, she said apple pie shots.
Apple pie shots? No, we were doing pudding shots, weren't we? I don't know.
I thought one M3 we were doing pudding shots.
Oh no, Jack Russell's Great White. We were doing pudding shots out of Margie's trunk. That's what it was.
Oh, that predates me. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was like a month before M3.
Yeah.
So my first meeting in face to face with Margie, well, actually with Margie, Brad Kaufman, the Arhars, a couple of people were actually just prior to M3, M15.
Aaron.
Yeah, I met them at Jack Russell's Great White at Fishhead Cantina.
That's
So yeah,
right.
yeah. And I think that's where the pudding shots came from. That was out of the Margie kept leading us all out of the venue to the parking lot, opening up her hatchback and feeding us all shots.
The hatchback. Ah! Hell yeah.
Awesome.
All right. I guess. Oh, she
They
said
do
she
bean
got me.
pies
Thank you,
next
Margie.
She gonna hook you up there, Mike?
She gonna hook me up. Gotta have
Nice.
something for the non-drinker, dude.
Nice.
Come on. Oh, hell yeah. Cool. Well, it was great having you guys. I mean, I look forward to seeing you guys in May, whatever date that might be.
Yeah.
To be determined.
You know,
And we want to put together. We'll play. We obviously want to do like maybe a warm up show. With this, to the TBD in May, but
the TBD.
yeah, and then get back up to like the Philly area, to Baltimore, of course, because that's like
Absolutely.
Our home base, really. And
We're all staying at Hernyanko's house. He invited us.
Yes.
Nice.
Enrico. What a
Make sure
great guy.
somebody brings the red pants.
I'm in possession of the red pants. The velvet pants have been retrieved.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that. For those that don't know, that's an inside joke about the red pants, but they've been around. It's the traveling Yaya brotherhood sister of the red pants thing. I don't know what it is, but
Approach
it's
me
been
and
around.
I'll share the story. Buy me a beer and I'll sit down and I'll tell you the story.
Nice.
Deal.
Love you guys. Be safe.
All right.
Love you too, man.
Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you, guys. We love you.
Mwah.
How do I get out of here?
I got you. Don't worry, I
Like
got
that?
you.
Like that.
Okay.
All right. First show back in the books.
In the books. All right.
In the books.
I had to mute the one guy because he talks too much.
That was fun, man. That was fun.
Oh, Jeff's great. I love him. Hey, it's a, Babylon is one of the bands that will talk. They'll talk. You're not trying to pull stuff out of them. They'll talk. So it makes it a little bit easier to do a show.
We softballed ourselves. Is what we did.
We made it so it was. We knew who they are. They had new music out. Let's get them on.
It worked out perfectly, man. It worked out perfectly.
Cool.
So
All right.
we're doing this every 2 weeks now, correct?
Yes, we're doing the show every 2 weeks till
Okay.
once we get our footing and get everything planned. Because right now we're just getting out of the holidays. We got this show down. I'm actually out of town next weekend. I'm not advertising where I'm going or what I'm doing because it's a surprise. But I'm out of town next weekend, and so it was like, I can't do it that weekend. But we'll every other Saturday. That'll give and I'm sure Wendy's like my wife. We're probably like, you're doing it every Saturday. Are you kidding me? So when I told her this morning, I forgot to tell her.
Oh,
I
you
was
didn't
like,
tell her until this morning.
no, and she's like, okay, cool. And I'm sure your wife was the same way. Like, oh, thank God you're doing it every other Saturday so that we can do things.
Well,
So,
it's you gotta have family stuff too, right?
right. And then the rock family stuff and family stuff.
Absolutely.
So but once summer hits and we start getting more shows, and you'll be out in the field, I'll be out in the field, we can go live here and there, and
Yep.
boom. So we'll just do it every other Saturday right now, and then if it's cool and get going, and maybe possibly by May, June, maybe every Saturday, we'll see where it goes.
I'm down with it. I'm down with it.
Down with
This
it,
is this has been great, dude. Thank you for
man. Oh,
handling the bulk of the lifting on this, man, because
ain't
this
nothing.
is this has been needed for me for a while. So
Hey, you got it. I always told you I'm here for you. And, when you talked about bringing it back, and I already did the Thursday one. And by the way, anybody who's listening that knows that I do the Thursday show, yes, I'm doing one this weekend or this week with Drew Rose from Wildside. So he's joining me on Thursday. He couldn't do Saturday, so he's doing Thursday. But probably from this moment forward, even if I'm doing a Thursday show, it will be with Will. It'll be in this format. And but I'm going to lean toward only Saturdays.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
I don't need to be doing two. I wanted to do, it's nicer to do with somebody else than it is alone. And when we brought this back, when we first talked, I was like, okay, I'll do both. And I sat there, I thought, why do both? I could just do one. And if we need to if somebody can't be on a Saturday, hey, we could do a special Thursday show.
Right.
Whatnot. We have the avenues. We'll do whatever we can to get the music out there and as many people out there as we can.
It's what we do, man. It's what
It's
we're
what we do.
known for at this
It's what we
point. You know
like
what
to
I
do.
mean? Yeah, it's what we like to do, and that's the thing. We're known for it, and we like doing it. You know what I mean?
Love doing it.
It's a side gig for us, but it's more love than our regular jobs. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, my day gig pays for this.
Yeah.
you
Right.
know, pays for
Right.
our passions. That's about it.
Yeah. But I think it's working out, man, and
Hell yeah.
I think this is great. I'm glad we're back together, and it's going to be interesting. We'll have an announcement for you guys probably later this week, as far as show number 2, and what'll go on in that. That's another thing too with giving it the 2 weeks. It gives us that week in between to prep, just like I was talking about for prepping for a rock show or promoting for a rock show. Well, it's no different from a radio show. You know what I mean?
No.
You need time to prep it. You need to have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. So I think
A
this
lot
is
of work that goes into it.
and dude, we did it. The original show was every other week, and it
Yep.
worked out fine. We didn't oversaturate ourselves. You know what I
Nope.
mean? And I think it worked out great. I think now is the time. I'm glad we're back doing this,
Hell
and
yeah.
I think we're gonna get it to where we were before, and I think we're gonna grow beyond that. And of course, with everybody's help. You know what I mean? The fam
Absolutely.
tuned in today. I can see it with the comments and everything else.
Oh yeah.
Can't thank everybody enough for that, man. Just to have that love and support while we're doing this, because
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for
Yep.
everything.
yeah, and share that. Please feel free to go right
Share.
off the Facebook page or the YouTube pages and share these podcasts. Share them in different music groups. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're all part of a bunch of different music groups. Some I'm in, some I'm not in. Some you're in, some you're not. Just put it wherever. Get the word out there. If you like what we do, give us a little promo.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, glad we're back, dude. And Oh, I'll say see ya in 2 weeks, but we're gonna talk way before that.
Absolutely, brother.
All right, brother. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Will, for bringing
Thanks,
us
Mike.
back.
See ya.
All right, later, guys.